What is up, guys? Welcome to the second bonus where we are going to talk about how to create a full-scale made-to-order business where they're only going to print or create the merchandise after you get a sale. So just like the beauty of drop shipping where you don't have any upfront costs, made-to-order businesses like Merch by Amazon or using an app like T-Launch with Shopify are incredibly valuable because there's literally no upfront cost at all besides just getting the designs created. So if you can get one design created, you can really create a sustainable business. So we can take a look back in May when I was messing around with my Merch by Amazon, and this was not using Shopify. This was not using any type of paid advertising. I literally didn't spend $1, and we got $1,200 in sales in just like a few days. And all types of different sizes, and we had the beauty of this, guys, is in like a quote unquote normal business you'd have to hold all of these different SKUs. Women's small silver would be one, men's extra large silver, men large royal blue. These would all be different SKUs that you'd have to order inventory for and store, and you'd have to tag all of them with UPCs, and you'd have to ship out every specific one if you got an order. And so that is a thing of the past, luckily now. And so what we are going to talk about now is how to identify designs, because setting up a t-shirt on T-Launch is actually quite easy. So in Shopify, in apps, in T-Launch, all we literally have to do is go to new product, and then we choose which product we want. Let's say that we only want this t-shirt, or we could choose whatever we want, and we go to start designing, and it's literally that easy. And so all we have to do is just choose a file and upload it, and it does everything else for us. And then we just have to bring people to our store. They can choose whatever color they want. We can select the colors here. We can select the sizes that we have available. And it's as easy as it's possible to be, from a business perspective, getting a viable business started, just that simply. And so this is a shirt that I made a while ago. It really adheres to what I teach, as far as what you want to look for in a t-shirt design. And we'll talk about exactly why that is in a little bit. But for now, I just wanted to show you. We're not going to be focusing a ton on how to use T-Launch because it's actually unbelievably easy how easy it is to actually set up. And so, we're just going to talk about how to find designs, and then, how we already talked about how to find graphic artists on Fiverr and on Upwork. It's literally as easy as just going to, Fiverr.com and just searching graphic artist. And then you just sort by average customer review. And now there's a ton of people with 500 reviews, a lot of different folks here who have, some reviews. And if you don't find anybody you like there, I found some very, very talented graphic artists on Upwork, and literally all you have to do is go into Upwork, go to search, again, just graphic designer, and click enter. And it's going to bring up a ton of different people for you to take a look at. You can do all types of different filters. I like to do, you don't really need somebody super expensive to make t-shirt designs. And so we can just do these type of filters really quickly. And I'm doing this super fast, guys, because I've showed this before, but I just wanted to make sure that it's all here for us. This is how you can find a graphic artist super easily. And reach out to a bunch of them and say, I want to make this t-shirt, and this t-shirt. And we're going to talk about how to find which t-shirts are successful on other platforms, getting shared on Facebook, on Instagram, what's popular on Amazon, and then how to kind of go about crafting and creating, your specific edge or differentiation of those designs that are already proven. So there's not going to be any guesswork. We are literally going to be looking at designs that have proven to sell, and then we are going to talk about actually how to, add our own creativity and our own experience and our own personality to those designs and to be able to sell on our Shopify store. So let's get into it right now. What you want to think about from a t-shirt perspective is that t-shirts are pretty much as dime a dozen product as it gets. So everyone wears clothes for the most part, hopefully, and everybody kind of wants to display certain things, right? Like I'm wearing my own brand right now because I feel very strongly about it. I love the brand. I love the people that I've been able to meet because of it. And that's why I'm wearing it, because I want to portray my love and my emotional attachment to this brand. And so, I think people make a mistake often when they actually create t-shirt businesses or coffee mug businesses or kind of like the ubiquitous products, when they try to create something that they think appeals to everyone. And that's actually a huge mistake, because, a t-shirt that appeals to everyone also appeals to no one. People want to buy t-shirts or made-to-order products online that appeal to their incredibly polar opinions. And let me repeat that again because it's extremely important. People want to go online to find t-shirts for one of a few reasons. If it's very targeted, right? Like if it's, maybe I went to South Carolina for college and I want a Gamecocks jersey for my mom who's turning 50 years old who lives in Alabama. So like that is incredibly specific. You're not going to go to Walmart and find something like that, but you could find it on the internet. You can find anything on the internet. So you want something super, super niched, or you want something incredibly polar. People who feel very strongly about certain subjects like to portray that. It's just like the person who always likes to argue because they have a very strong opinion on, gun laws or abortion or other types of topics that are very, polarizing to people who have very strong opinions on these topics. And so the third reason, guys, is people like things that are funny. People like novelty, gag items. People like, jokes. People like things that, start conversations. So those are kind of the big three of what I like to target. Very specific, polarizing, and funny. And you can, cross-pollinate multiple of those different categorizations. So don't be shy that you only can have something funny. If you have something that's funny, polarizing, and specific enough, then you are going to make money selling t-shirts. I promise you that. And so let's look at a few examples just to kind of, really make this super clear. So one of the designs that I had up right here is called Sorry About Our President. So this is one of the ones that I sold on Amazon. And basically, I don't mean offense by this to anyone who's watching right now, but, a lot of people felt strongly about Donald Trump being elected. I don't, I have my own opinions about that one way or another, but, sorry about our president in multiple different languages. This appeals to people, in Spanish and sign language even, all different types of languages here. And just representing it on one kind of aesthetically pleasing, symmetrical kind of rectangular design on a t-shirt, obviously proved to be very successful. We sold, $1,400 worth of this t-shirt in all types of colors and sizes and things like that in just the span of, a few short weeks. And so, Donald Trump is a perfect example, regardless of how you feel about him, of a polar subject. People feel very strongly either in favor of him or very, very strongly, not in favor of him. And so, he's a perfect example of the polarity categorization. So if you want to get specific, you can do birthdays, you can do, gifts for aunts. Moms and dads get a lot of love, but maybe great grandmas don't, or, our mother-in-laws, or, things that you can actually target that don't necessarily have as much attention for them from a seller perspective. And so, you want to look for things that are controversial because people love controversy, regardless of how I personally feel about it. I don't like drama. I don't like controversy personally, but, people do. It's been proven throughout history with gladiators and, coliseums and all that type of thing. So, look for things that cause controversy. It doesn't have to be so incredibly offensive that no one would wear it or only like very certain people, but you want it to be, kind of edgy, and you want it to, have something to do with subjects that are quite polar. Abortion, same-sex marriage, gun control, animal testing, death penalty, cigarettes, minimum wage, immigration, vaccines, war, prostitution, video games, violence, religion, and sports are great ones. People feel incredibly strong about sports, right? Or religion, or war, or video games, or any of these. These are just some of the ones that I kind of, wanted to highlight. But look at what people talk about in the presidential debates, or look at what politicians are constantly talking about. They're always talking about the controversial subjects, and so use that kind of in your advantage. Another thing that I want to talk about really quickly about t-shirts is utilizing world news. So the people who are kind of on the front end of new trends. And like, for example, when Donald Trump tweeted or said like "Kufi-fi," for example, that I still don't know what that even means, to be honest. But I do know that people made thousands or tens of thousands of dollars selling, koofy novelty shirts on Amazon, and probably hundreds of thousands of dollars selling them on e-commerce stores. So the people who are following the news closely and acting very fast, getting clever designs up in relation to current world events, especially ones that have some type of comedic appeal, are going to make money. Especially the ones who get it up, who get the design made quickly, who get it live on T-Launch quickly, and who get Facebook ads targeting the right people quickly, are going to make a ton of money. I promise you that. It is ridiculously easy if you start to get kind of systems in place to be on the front end of these type of world events. And so let's actually go through how we can find some real live popular t-shirt designs just using the big social media. All right guys, so let's start with Instagram. So if we start with Instagram here, we can actually just come into, and this is obviously the website version, but it's the same idea. We're gonna just type in hashtag t-shirt, and it says 18 million posts on Instagram for a t-shirt. And so let's take a look at some of these, because how Instagram does it is they'll organize, at least on desktop, the top 9 top posts, right? Like 600 likes, 3,300 likes. You can tell a lot about the potential success of a t-shirt by the amount of social proof. And so, we can see a lot here. 2,000 likes for this woman's shirt that says, "I'd rather be with my dog." Right? So people like, talking about how they like animals better than humans. It's especially, that type of person. And that's a perfect kind of very niched a subject that person would actually want to portray to the world, saying that they like animals better than people if they truly like animals better than people. So tall, silver, and handsome. Obviously this would be appealing kind of to the older crowd, which is a perfect little sub niche. So these are 2 great ones that I would consider looking at. So this looks like Buzz Lightyear to Infinity and Beyond, celebrating the weekend in style with my new Uniqlo Disney themed tee. This is kind of a strange one, but this one would be a good one. And so so we could type in Donald Trump t-shirt, which is going to be kind of our theme. So there's actually a Instagram specifically for that. So we could do hashtag Donald Trump memes. Memes are always a good place to start, just because you can really turn t-shirts into memes quite easily, or memes into t-shirts quite easily. And so I would look through a lot of these and see if I could create kind of a t-shirt out of it. We don't have to look through too many of these. But yeah, so that's just kind of how I would use Instagram, just like novelty t-shirts. You can literally type in novelty t-shirt. 872 posts. Let's try funny t-shirt. Okay, so here's 41,000 posts, so it's a little bit better. Eating for 2, drinking for 2. This would be a great, to sell those as a pair. I'm into fitness, turkey into my mouth. That's pretty good if you read it out loud, especially because, guys, it's very important to understand seasonality and be aware of holidays, because with print-on-demand t-shirts, once you figure out kind of the lag time, if you're selling on Merch by Amazon, it's literally 2 days. If you're selling on T-Launch, it's a little bit longer than that, but it's still not too long. I've got 21 problems, but free drinks ain't one. It's not the best ones. Feed me and tell me I'm pretty, leftovers for quitters. And so you see that there's like a turkey theme here in the top post. These are the ones that are most interesting because Thanksgiving is coming up in a few weeks. And so, be aware of, what type of holidays are approaching and how you can create novelty or humor or add some type of creativity to these type of designs, even if you're just creating like a different turkey or different font, or maybe you add like a cute little turkey face or like a smile or something. That's change enough, especially if you're actually doing the advertising yourself and bringing them to your Shopify store. So let's talk about OpenSky. OpenSky is just an interesting little site that I like to use. I just search Donald Trump here and see if we see anything funny. Grab her by the, so this is obviously one that's quite polar. If somebody's actually going to wear a shirt that says that, they have extremely strong opinions. And people who have extremely strong opinions open their wallets and buy t-shirts from the internet. That is just the simple truth. Not my president, right? So this is kind of a play on the one that we talked about. Make Christmas great again. Donald with a cap on. Trump as like a jersey. We see some more not my presidents. right? Love trumps hate. Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna have a Donald Trump theme here just because he's a great he's a great idea and testament to what sells merchandise. It's just, whether or not you love him or hate him, he's very good at keeping his name in the spotlight and keeping the attention on him. And the more attention and media attention we have for a subject, whether it's Donald Trump, that's just the more that he is on people's minds, or any subject is on people's minds, and the more that the mass media is talking about things, the more it's on all of these people out in the world's minds, and if it's on their mind, then they're more likely to buy. And that's just a simple truth. Utilizing the mass media, whatever they're talking about, whatever's happening in the world right now, to your advantage in actually selling, made to order products, T-shirts, seasonal trends, holiday events, and mixing them is really how you differentiate yourself and kind of turn the passive income stream of made to order into a real income stream. It's not impossible at all to make $10,000-$30,000 a month selling 100% print on demand inventory that has literally no upfront cost and no SKUs, no tracking of any kind, no customer service for the most part, and it's just a truly simple revenue stream once you kind of get it going and understand kind of how it works. The first sales are always the hardest, guys. Everything we do. So let's go on Etsy. Etsy is a perfect example, and they they sort by relevancy. The top column is advertisements. But I mean, Donald Pump is hilarious, right? 443 reviews. Again, look for social proof, guys. If we see 443 reviews for this, that there's probably 1 out of 10 people who buy off Etsy or Amazon or whatever it is, or even less, leave a review. So that's probably 4,000 sales. We see 2,000 reviews here for Donald Trump make Christmas great again. People are already capitalizing on Christmas, and it's not for another 6 weeks. Donald Trump, you are fake news. In Trump we trust. If you're offended, I'll help you pack. See, this is pretty good with the American flag shades. Those are great. So, I mean, there's a lot of really, really great stuff here. Wake up and smell the Kofi. This is exactly what I was talking about. People are still selling this and making 249 reviews, 63 reviews, hashtag Kofi. And this is months old, guys. So just finding polar topics, whether it's Trump or Justin Bieber or Kim Kardashian or Kanye West or, whatever's popular in the present moment is it's just a huge advantage for you. I miss Obama. It doesn't even have to be about Trump. It could be an indirect I miss Obama, right? And it's very easy to target people on Facebook from a Republican or Democratic or political perspective. All of these decisions, guys, especially with made to order, should be made with how can I target it on Facebook in mind? Because at the end of the day, you could have the best design in the world, but if you can't get it in front of the right people's eyes, you're never going to get the sale. And so, it's super important to go back into module 4, really understand the detailed interest targeting section of Facebook, what you can actually target, how are you going to reach these people's eyes with your design, because it's super, 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 super important to plan ahead and actually be able to reach these people with your advertisements. Because like I said before, if you have the best design in the world and no one sees it, no one is going to buy it, and that's just the way it is. So let's talk about T-shirts in Facebook. So if we type in T-shirts just into the regular search bar and we go to pages, what we can see here is some that with some insane likes. So it's called T-shirts. It has a check mark, verified. We see 326,000 here. And so those are 2 huge stores, obviously. Awesome T-shirts today. 576,000 likes. And that's a ton of likes. Almost 1 million people have liked this page. And so, we would go and check out everything that's going on here. So they have, posts that are probably daily. So November 2nd here, makeup brush cleaner. They have some random stuff here now. They're talking about actually creating T-shirts, it looks like, and how to screen print and stuff like that. So this might not necessarily be the best one for us. This looks like actually kind of a do-it-yourself type thing, but it's worth taking a look at. So we see 14 hours here, 124 likes, 14 shares, for a cat with Rudolph horns. And so, that's great, Rudolph antlers. into fitness. Again, this is the same theme that we saw. It's people who, like to joke about being into fitness, but they really like food. It's just a very common niche. I think a lot of us have that friend. I've probably even made that joke before. People just like to do certain things and make jokes about certain things, kind of, saying how they're really into fitness and then turning it into like a food joke. Just start to pay attention to the themes you're seeing as you're doing your research. We saw the turkey one. I'm gonna fitness into my mouth. Again, fitness entire pizza into my mouth. I mean, we can look through all of these. Sorry I'm late, but I didn't want to come is kind of funny. Thor, the new movie Thor just came out recently. And so, this is a thorium play on obviously the element, which is great. This is a perfect design. 92 likes, playing off recent events. People love movies, obviously, feel really strongly about it, especially like huge superhero movies. Save the turkeys, which is great. And so I would look through every single one of these. This is like Tabasco or whatever it is. Sriracha in the form of a turkey, which is great. This has the most likes of any of the ones we looked at. So I'd look through every single one of these guys. And, I would look through every single one of these too. I'm with, this looks like mess with me, I fight back. Mess with my family, and they'll never find your body. Perfect Christmas present. And this is ridiculous. Look at this, 239,000 likes. 245,000 shares. That is absurd. If you see social proof like that, that you can remake this quite easily with, instead of like a skull of this type, you could make like a demon head with like horns, or you could make like an angry emoji face or any type of thing to differentiate it, make it your own, and just have these be like AK-47s, or it doesn't really matter, really. You can make, as long as the design is your own and you're not just like stealing it exactly how it is, have your graphic artist make it. I could have my graphic artist, I could find a Fiverr or an Upwork graphic artist to remake me this with AKs here and a demon head with horns and, different font for $5. And 8,625 comments. That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd. And so look at the social proof. It tells you a lot. Legends, like this could be a great one. I think this is such a smart design. And you could have this redesigned to, instead of being a meme, you could have these characters drawn with a graphic artist onto a t-shirt with them imagining themselves in much higher quality than this. And you could make that into a t-shirt. I guarantee this would sell, 100% guarantee. I'm crazy. Now you're just cute. 2 months later, you're crazy. I told you I really did. So all types of stuff here. And I'm not going to scroll through these, even though they are actually interesting. I literally just like seeing them. But yeah, so that's just how I would use Facebook. And then let's talk about Pinterest. So we can just type in Donald Trump t-shirts here, and what we can do is we can go to buyable pins, and it'll literally show us. Some of these are so funny. Get on board the Trump train, victory to America. So this would be like actually people who are into Trump and like what he's doing. So that's obviously another market as well. Deplorable, hardworking American patriot, which is great. Hitler taking off Donald Trump's face. I mean, you don't get much more polar than that. I guarantee you that you do not get much more polar than that. Protest Trump with Uncle Sam, and a zombie Donald Trump playing off the popularity of The Walking Dead, and zombies trending. This guy went to Trump University. So all of these, I would look through all of these, and whichever ones I'd like, I'd save links to them. I'd open up a Word document and I'd copy and paste every single one that I liked, and I'd get 50 links, and then whichever ones I decided that I wanted to do, I'd have my graphic artist make, and I would make literally a novelty store as a collection on one of my Shopify stores. You could have it as part of your visible store, or you could literally just have it as a collection, and you could run Facebook ad traffic to that URL, to the collection of your novelty t-shirts. Or if I had a golf store similar to how I do, we could just type in funny golf shirts in all of these different mediums, whether it's Instagram, OpenSky, Etsy. I guarantee you that if we typed in funny shirts and you wanted to have t-shirts as kind of an indirect benefit to the Golf Ninjas brand, I like big putts and I cannot lie. is perfect. Let's party. These are amazing. 2,400 reviews, which means, if 1 in 10 people leave a review here, that's 24,000 shirts being sold. Education is important, but golf is importanter. There's amazing stuff here, guys. Don't kill yourself trying to come up with original designs. Just make them your own, change them, add some color, make this say golf in green, and change the font. As long as it's an original design and the words themselves aren't trademarked, you're not going to get into trouble. So you can do a quick USPTO search. So I know for sure that I like big putts, and I cannot lie, it's probably not trademarked. But if I type in USPTO trademark search, I can just come into search the trademark database here, and it's TESS, and then basic word mark. I like big putts, and I cannot lie. And if we enter this here, no TESS records were found to match the criteria of your search. So after I do that, I feel very comfortable. Where was that? Right here, that I would not, as long as I don't take their exact design and I change it and make it my own with new font or new images here, or whatever it is, I'm not going to put myself in any harm's way, as long as I do just a simple trademark search for the words on the t-shirt. So these are absolutely fantastic. It's such a good idea to have kind of a complementary source of income, and also just product line related to whatever you decide to make your store about. Maybe you're selling drone accessories, or maybe you're selling aquariums stuff. Then have funny aquarium shirts, or have funny drone shirts, or have trending drone shirts, and you can find them all in the same exact way that we're talking about right now. So if we type in Donald Trump t-shirts into Google and then just go to images, Google is, again, I've said this multiple times, Google is the best organizer of data in the world, other than potentially Facebook, and they organize these in a very specific way. These are not randomly organized. These are organized by relevancy, and some of these are hilarious. What is this? Believe me, it's going to be amazing. It's like Trump, being drawn on an emoji. So. But the moral of the story here, guys, is there's so many ways to find this stuff. It's amazing. You can use BuzzFeed. Literally, you can organize the collections by best selling, just right here, and we can look at all of this stuff, just like a running corgi. Dad AF. that's as simple as it gets. Drink some water, take your meds, and call your person. These aren't the favorite ones I've seen, but if they're selling well on BuzzFeed is quite good at knowing what is going viral. So another one we can do is Wish. So Wish.com is a cool one. So we can just type in funny shirts and ADHD like in the font of the band, which is great. Bear hug with like the inside of the bear head printed on the inside of the shirt, which is great. Senpai, this would be a good one for the Ninja family. This hilarious one of Nicolas Cage. And you could do Donald Trump shirts. I actually love this. You guys see, it's so fun doing product research for print on demand, because, these are all so funny. And I like to just organize the ones that I like. I love Donald Trump, for people who like him, which is funny, or which is reasonable if you like him, I guess. And Trump, make America great again. So these all seem to be kind of in favor of him. Trump and Putin. You better believe that this one is going to be selling. I guarantee you that. That is quite polar. You could target Russian Americans living in the USA but speaking Russian on Facebook. That's a creative way that you could immediately see people whether or not that they were liking it. This is a hilarious shirt. And so the moral of the story here, guys, is that you can find so much kind of inspiration. Never, ever allow yourself to kind of just sit and have writer's block with this. And so kind of the last thing that I wanted to look at is Amazon. So Amazon is one of the best aggregators of product data in the world. And so what Amazon has is called Merch by Amazon. Merch by Amazon is their personal print-on-demand service. So it's similar to T-Launch for Shopify. Amazon has what's called Merch by Amazon. And so you submit designs to Merch by Amazon, and if someone orders it, then Amazon has the t-shirt, they print the t-shirt, they send it out, and they give you your cut. And so all print by demand or print-on-demand shirts by Amazon have something in common. They have lightweight, classic fit, double needle sleeve and bottom hem. And I have this exact I have exactly what it says in the materials for you guys, so don't worry if you don't want to like type it in. You can just copy and paste it. And so what we see here is if you search this on Amazon, you can see a couple of things. So if we organize by clothing here, by clicking it on the left, now we're in the clothing section. Still have this exact phrase that all print merch by Amazon shirts have. And if we go down and we actually only have Amazon.com be the seller, now we see all merch by Amazon designs. And so the last little hack that I like to do is come down to where it says brand, and if we go to see more, Amazon gives us some very valuable data here. Now, instead of actually having, just the brand name, they give us what's called the top brands. So these are literally the best selling brands on Merch by Amazon at the present moment. And so what we can do is we can, just open up some of these and just literally take a look at some of the stuff that they're selling. So let's take a look at these actual brands. So this looks like Unicorn. They're targeting, sisters, big sister. I'm the big brother, so they're doing a great job here. Gobble gobble for Thanksgiving. Big brother, I'm going to be a big sister in the form of a turkey, which is great. Turkey football and pumpkin pie. These guys are doing a great job of recognizing the holiday season and then targeting sisters, brothers in kind of the sibling niche on Amazon. If we look at these guys, so this is like Jimi Hendrix and Vote Butts, Tina. Yeah, so I mean they're playing off some popular television shows, Rocky Horror Picture Show. I just felt like running. So they're targeting lots of different of niches here. Bob's Burgers obviously is probably the niche that they're targeting most closely. And these change. Arthur, with LeBron James' tweet recently with Arthur's fist, that might be a good one. Hate is gonna hate. Put Sriracha on everything. People feel really strangely passionate about Sriracha for some reason. They did a great job with their marketing. Save Sriracha, caution, contents are hot. And so, yeah, I mean, we could do this forever, guys. But the moral of the story is, you want to take advantage of what's happening in the world, whether it's holidays or, Kofi Fee or Donald Trump or whatever's popular and funny and novel right now. You want to take advantage of humor. People love things that are humorous. People like to laugh. People like giving gifts of novelty, right? People like giving funny gifts to their friends, and gift buyers are the best buyers because they're not going to return, first of all, and they're not as price sensitive, second of all. And the third thing, guys, is you want to, play off polarity. You want to choose controversial topics. We're not going to make a shirt that says love that appeals to everyone and expect to sell it. That is never going to sell as a t-shirt. You could get that anywhere you wanted. We are targeting ultra sub niches of controversial topics, hopefully that are funny, that are also, in the kind of spotlight of the news, and the massive mainstream media is kind of getting people's attention to that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was kind of a longer one, but I wanted to be as specific as possible and literally show you, step by step exactly how I do my product research for print on demand. It's a great way of adding an additional passive income stream. And if you can start to make it work and scale up your ads and sell more and more t-shirts, all of a sudden, guys, it's like 10,000 or 30,000 or even more than that additional dollars per month, and you're not having to hold any SKUs or any inventory yourself or any upfront investment. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we will see you on the next one.